AI SEO strategies that are working well in 2026. Today I'm joined with Mike Lovett, Pr Truscott and Luke Bastin. And today we're going to talk about trying to get your brand cited in the AI overview of Gemini, or it could be in Claude AI or ChatGPT, Perplexity. I want to just start off with this. The simple question is, Paul, if you was to sell this as a service to a client, and it was only not for the ranking of the website, just to get cited more in the LLMs, what do you call that service? Is it AI SEO,
Ooh,
LLM SEO? Like what is it? GEO? Like what are you calling it?
yeah, I'd probably go with GEO because that seems to me to be the one that is turning everyone on. So purely from a marketing perspective, although personally, I just think it all comes back to semantics, but it's just a different way of presenting it. But yeah, if you're pitching it at someone, I'd go with GEO because that seems to be the buzzword. Certainly the stuff that I'm seeing anyway. I don't know what you guys are seeing, what
What
people.
are you saying, Luke? What are you saying for the name?
Well, I tend to have probably a disproportionate number of dialogues with C-suite type people as clients. So I call it visibility. I probably do something different from other people because I'm trying to dial it into the KPIs that they might look at in a
Yeah,
broader spectrum. So for me, it comes down to information retrieval, but they're not going to know what that means. If I was to pick a term, pretty much what you're saying, Paul, I do see SEO and GEO, whatever you want to call it, as the same thing. But then it depends what you call SEO, right? For some people, SEO is content plus links, and I don't look at it that way. So we're
yeah,
not talking the
no,
same language.
no,
So yeah,
exactly. You don't know what you're actually
yeah,
what we're describing. Yeah,
yeah. So I call it visibility, and I talk about visibility in different systems that people look on to get that visibility. I talk about brand equity. I talk about like visibility in SERPs. These are things which I think C-suite identify with the most. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. And what about you, Mike?
I've always said AI, SEO, but I was just thinking from a tools perspective, if Ahrefs and SEMrush are calling it like AI visibility or visibility index, usually whatever's the most popular kind of will always win in the end. In the same way that, I don't know, DVDs and previous technology, whichever has like led the way, has been whatever's getting mentioned the most, and the others kind of get dropped. Like AEO just seems like too much of a mouthful. So yeah, just saying AI SEO. I guess in the end it'll just be a bit of everything. As people, I think everyone would have thought that the AI engines will steal everything, but you still kind of Google things anyway, don't you? So I think just saying AI SEO, it covers all bases.
Yeah. And then Paul, then the question over to you to start with then. So a company comes along and they say, we're ranking well in
hmm
Bing or in Google on their own website. They're happy with the visibility. Obviously, everyone wants higher rankings or higher traffic volumes, but they're relatively happy with the website rankings, but they want more visibility in ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. What would you be saying you would be doing as a service to for that client that is different to SEO that you would be doing to try to get the AI visibility if they're happy with the website rankings but
yeah,
they want more AI visibility?
yeah. I'd probably just be explicit about the fact that it's going to be off page, mostly off page work, so it's not going to interfere with their current rankings, their current website, so that they're not worried about that. And then just explain pretty much, as we've just discussed, that it is about visibility, which is like their website exists as one single point, one single source of data. So what we need to do is extrapolate a lot of the information that's in there, build upon it, and then put that everywhere. So we're telling them we want multimodal, we want to spread that word across multiple um, domains and platforms, because I mean, as we've discussed before, it's a consensus engine, right? That at the moment, at least, those LLMs don't really care about authority, um, only as far as it goes. If the platform or site you put the information on is visible to the LLM, If it can find it, then it'll consume it. So we don't have to worry about backlinks in the same way that we do. So I would just be pushing the idea to them that we need to get you seen as broadly as we possibly can, covering as many different relevant topics as we can. That's really, I guess, how I would sort of describe it.
What about yourself, Luke?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think the one thing I have learned probably the hard way over the last year is you need good search engine rankings to get LLM visibility anyway, because they work in tandem. So I do see companies sometimes making changes designed to get more visibility in Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, but then they sacrifice, not unwittingly, they sacrifice their search engines rankings, and they make it harder for themselves, even to get what they started to do. So that's one danger. The things I would look at from an on-page perspective: is their brand strong enough? Are the brand signals strong enough? Sometimes you have websites where the title tags are stuffed with search terms rather than the brand. That can harm LLM visibility. So that could be one on-page fix, different from what Paul said, or additional to what Paul said. Sometimes it's as simple as the LLMs can't understand well enough what your business is about. Some nuances in niches make it quite hard to categorize. So there's one niche I'm in, which is, it's essentially window decorations in the States. Window treatments is this term, but then it's things like blinds, shades, shutters, and other services of that nature. It's quite hard for LLMs to understand exactly what the business is, because you have blinds shops, which are actual shops where you go and buy blinds from. There's even a GBP category, window treatment store. But then if you're a consultancy that goes out and does custom installations, that's not you. It's not what you do, and there's this confusion. So I think really unambiguously educating LLMs about what it is you do and what you don't do is key as well. And that's where, James, I know you and I have discussed recently this whole page for LLMs and educating them on single source of truth with all these parameters, making it clear. That's another really good thing you can do as well. So yeah, that'd be my advice.
What are you, Mike?
I think it's already been said, like the offsite signals are key. It's surprising, like sometimes when you Google a brand name, they'll have a really good website. So SEO wise, in terms of old school SEO, like content and links, it might be really good. All the links might be like quite keyword or sort of phrase match based. Nothing really mentioning the brand, no digital PR. If you take away their website themselves and their Facebook page and their LinkedIn, sometimes there's literally nothing else on the web.
They're gone, yeah.
There's nothing there. There'll be like those like zoominfo.com type pages where it says, or these like scam report where it says how many visitors a website gets or whether it's got a security certificate installed. But there'll be like no directory links. They won't even have like a yell.com or something sometimes, just no citations, nothing. I think more and more it's becoming really important that there is at least a sentence or two somewhere saying who you are and what you do. And for years you probably had the same, where you get bombarded with emails where it'll be like, you've been nominated for the Birmingham Small Business Awards, and you think, what's this all about? And they kind of want you to pay and go and get an award. And now I'm thinking it's probably worth 500 quid or whatever to go get your award and get mentioned in the local press.
Yeah, Dad, I'm there. Tuxedo, yes, we've won. Right, let's have a bit of a quick fire round. Let's go around and just do a strategy. So obviously the podcast topic is about AI SEO strategies that's working in 2026. We've spoke about the importance, what we call it and stuff like that. We've spoke about the offsite signals. So Paul, let's start with you. Just one thing that's working to help you get better AI visibility.
Listicles, but kind of with a few caveats in mind. One being, don't make it obvious that you're promoting your business, right? So I would never put the one that I'm trying to promote, right at the top of the list. I would use other ways to lead the person reading it to that conclusion. One of those things, for example, could be using a series of questions where you're saying, always make sure that whoever you use ticks these boxes, and then make sure you're the only one that does. things like that. So it's a little bit more subtle, but I've noticed that a lot of the LLMs now are being quite discerning, or starting to become more discerning about obvious promotional material. So I think that's something that's probably only going to become more of an issue as we go forward, because they're going to get clever. I think they're quite dumb still at the moment. I think we can assume they're going to get cleverer.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, I would say multi-hop visibility. So if you can reverse engineer who the brands are that are winning in your market right now, and where the LLMs have gone to define that those brands are the winning brands, getting visibility in those spaces.
Yeah, great strategy. Mike? Mike, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. Signal's dropping.
All right. Yeah, what's one strategy that's working for you?
Podcasts, same as you.
Podcast. Oh, isn't it mine? You dirty dog. Yeah, videos and podcasts are working great. All right, I'll throw another one in there, and then we'll go back and do another round. Comparison pages. So you mentioned listicles. So being compared against your biggest competitors and saying why you're better than them. I'd have a slight different nuance to your thingy, Paul, where I would say I'd go aggressive with why I'm better than my competition. I would put myself number one. I wouldn't do it promotional. I'd just do it very factual.
Yeah, I think if you can justify it factually, that probably makes sense.
Like because it's not me writing; it's on a third-party corroborative source, not from me. I want them to say why. I want them to feed the LLMs of why I am better.
Yeah,
but
I'm just concerned that at some point they're going to work out the pattern, and I'm kind of starting to see that maybe it's hard to know whether that is what's happening or whether I'm just not doing it very well, to be honest. But
I don't think there is a pattern. I think what's happening is I think people are doing listicles and going, here's the top 10 list, 1 to 10, and giving no reason why the number one's better than number two and the number two's better than number three. Just putting the listicles in. You have to, but this has always been the case with SEOs. SEOs, generally speaking, are lazy, single prompt going, can you list me this top 10? Here's the top 10. No reasons why, no information gain, no like surveys, no data, no USPs, no awards, no reviews. All this needs to be corroborated together with why you are better. You need to understand why you are better than the competition and shout and scream about it everywhere so the LLMs can pick it up of why you are better. And if you're not better, you need to then have a good damn look at yourself and go, how can I be better?
Yeah.
Then everyone's got a USP, everyone's got a story. Just paint that picture of who you are and what you do and why you're freaking brilliant. And if you can't be brilliant at something, well, you need to go and find another brand where you can be, because you need that USP to be the best that then can take you or slightly different from what you do to what your competition does of why you're better. But the comparison pages, I think, is another way of being able to compare. Anyway, back to you, Paul. Let's have another one. Another AI SEO strategy that's working great in 2026.
What, for local or just generally?
In general, for anything.
Could
be guest posts, press releases, PDF sharing.
Press releases definitely are working well again. But again, it comes down to who you're using, because a lot of the time, a lot of what people call press releases aren't. They're essentially just a PBN, and they could be, absolutely garbage. So a lot of people will use that kind of service and then draw the conclusion, this doesn't work. So I think that's an important thing. Like I've got a fair bit of advice from you on that side of things, because I never used to do any. But it's becoming so important now, because going back to what Mike touched on, the brand, the awareness of the brand is so important now. Whereas before, just being discovered by keyword, you could make a lot of money and you could be very successful and be 100% reliant on that alone and not really even exist as a brand. And that wasn't a problem back then, but it's definitely a problem now. So people need to focus. I guess that's another thing too. You need to focus on the brand. You need to start getting brand traffic and brand mentions. Absolutely critical.
Yeah, for sure. Luke, what other AI strategies is working well? I know you've got loads up your sleeve.
Yeah, I would say a big thing is that the more you can structure the content from an HTML perspective and the more data rich you can make it, that gives you more ammunition for a lot of the stuff you guys have been talking about. So press releases, shouting about how great you are. The more LLMs can see that's not subjective, but it's objective and data backed. It's not opinionated. It is actually, has some credence to it. Generally, the more weighting they give it. So, like the lens I look through is largely a local lens on that, and it comes down to case studies. When you've done a really good job for someone as a local home services business, can you get a case study on your website summarising that job? With the materials you used, with how long it took, with the process, with a quote from the customer. With lots of images, lots of visuals that you can put your logo in your brand. That suddenly becomes a huge data-backed piece of content that you can structure around really kind of data-rich HTML. So it works for conversion because it makes people kind of call you rather than the generic blog post-rich competitor, and it works for LLMs as well. So it's kind of a win-win.
Yep, for sure. And Mike, is there any other more AI SEO strategies that's working well?
I think just what we've already touched on is like getting the brand out there as much as possible. Like John Mueller and some of the guys at Google said years ago when they were asked for SEO advice, they're like, just do traditional marketing. Because if you went and did offline marketing, people are going to search for your brand name. If you went and did social media, again, it's going to help with direct traffic, reviews, and actual real human mentions on the web. If you do digital PR, it's mentions, brand mentions that actually involve like the CEO of the company or the founder or whatever, and getting all those kind of important facts mentioned across the web rather than being, if there's no paper trail of your brand whatsoever. And then from an SEO point of view, like we as SEOs, like you said, are good at manipulating things. So how many different places with how many different mediums can you get your brand mentioned? So whether that's image sharing, videos on YouTube and Vimeo, podcast distribution, obviously that goes on YouTube, Amazon Music, and then all the podcast sharing sites. There's PDF sharing sites and other PowerPoint slideshows sharing sites that you can have. Then we've got more complicated stuff like actually writing a book or journals, all these different ideas, just any way that you can distribute your knowledge and expertise across different platforms. And some of those, as we know, carry a lot more weight. It's easy to go out and buy a guest post and someone will slap it on the blog, but it's not so easy to go write a journal and get it on Google Scholar, or to go and have a guest appearance at a university and have that recorded and published on their YouTube channel. So I think that the more things you can do that within the budget of a client, the better. Some of them are cheap and easy, like the podcasts and the PDFs, and some of them are going to be a lot harder. Depends on the client as well, because sometimes it takes a long time to get client approval, depending on the size of the company and directors and their brand reputation and image. So
yeah, I think you touched on there, Paul, before the AI mentions and the AI brand search. The brand mentions and the brand search volume is key. Touch on there what you just said there, Mike, of like trying to get it in as many third-party corroborative sources as possible. I just literally came off the back of a few episodes, podcast episodes with Jesper Neeson, and what he was talking about was about repurposing a lot of content that you already have. So if any old tweet used to do well, could you reword that tweet, saying the same kind of context around what you are, but then trying to force index it to get Google to pick up those tweets that you want the LLMs to be picked up with? And I thought, actually, that's quite genius. And you can go into the analytics to try and get that information, but then you can also then share those similar kind of statuses on LinkedIn and force index those URLs, and on Facebook, even on Instagram, getting any reviews that you have, making that Trustpilot review, putting it into an image and putting it as onto like Instagram, and then putting the content of the 5-star review on Instagram and force indexing it, and just repurposing. Like, he's also, if he does a really decent article that he likes, there might be 5 or 6 different entity attributes or things that's been covered, like cost, benefits of using them, and he'll go and get that one section, and then he'll go and put that one section onto like a LinkedIn to try and rank it for the question of the H2, but then say, by the way, if you want to see the full article, check it out, the first link in the description. And it's just then getting people back to the site from social media. And it's doing exactly what you're talking about there, Mike, like almost like traditional marketing, but you can do it with social media now. It's free, it's easy, it's cheap to do. And get like one of the H2s on LinkedIn, one of them on Twitter, one of them, if it's image based, it could be one of them on Pinterest, one of them on Instagram. And it's just being a good holistic marketer that can drive more branded search, branded mentions, and traffic back to the site, which is the differentiator nowadays. Everyone now can do, everyone's buying links nowadays, and everyone can go and scale content, but the traffic element is difficult to get. And trying to kind of work in those ways. But anyone who's watching this, is there any AI SEO strategies that we've missed? Leave a comment in the comment section. Mike, Paul, Luke, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having you.
Guys.